You know, a real blessing that a country have is to have leaders who have the morals and behave in that way. And so we, I think, are truly blessed to have many leaders, but one in particular who acts and does, not just talks about it, is my friend who I have the privilege of introducing to you in a moment. But as you saw, he held the hearings, calling everyone to account on the promise of moving the embassy. And as we see, the embassy is going to move soon. But what Ron really gets is how Jerusalem is so central to the message, as Rabbi Shmuley spoke of, that is our responsibility, that is the responsibility of the Jews to spread, to have civilized behavior, to have acceptance of others, and all the other benefits that we gain from Western civilization. So it is my honor and privilege to introduce someone who stands for what's right, and not just stands for it, acts like it, does it, has served in the military, has done one thing after another that just shows what kind of man he is. And the next big thing he's going to do is become the governor of Florida. So that's next. So I'm thrilled to introduce my friend Ron DeSantis.
Well, thank you, Mark. It's great to be here. Good evening. After the last election, I knew that this was an inflection point where we could finally orient U.S. policy to recognize what we all know to be the case, to recognize Jerusalem as the eternal and undivided capital of the state of Israel. And so in my role in the Congress, we marshaled members of Congress to urge the new president to follow through on the promise that he made. I led a trip over last March where we identified the various sites in Jerusalem where you could immediately open an American embassy. And I'm actually pleased to report that the site I recommended is the site that we are going to open up on May 14th. We went, we did the hearings, but we delivered the message that, we're going to open this embassy on May 14th coming up. And that's the 70th anniversary of President Truman, recognizing the state of Israel in 1948. And if you think about it at the time, it wasn't necessarily the easy or the smart thing to do. All of his advisors said, don't do it. We have a Cold War. The Arabs won't like it. No. But Harry Truman said, you know what, that all may be true, but recognizing Israel, even though it's not the easy thing to do, it's the right thing to do. And so he made a very important decision. And I think it's a similar decision with President Trump. Look, a lot of his advisors told him, don't mess with the embassy. You're going to upset people in the Middle East. It's not the right time. And he said, no, I made the promise. This is the right policy. And I am going to announce that we recognize Jerusalem and that we will soon move the embassy. So this is big stuff. And, I'm honored to have been invited to go and attend the groundbreaking on May 14th. And that's going to be one of the highlights of my career and my life. And it's going to be so good to sit there in front of that embassy and say, at least when it comes to America's embassy, we can say this year in Jerusalem. Thank you, guys.